¿Estás harto de reuniones aburridas con PowerPoints infinitos que te hacen perder el tiempo? Bueno, pues te vamos a enseñar una manera mucho mejor de hacer las reuniones. Y va a ser de la mano de Jeff Bezos, el dueño de Amazon. Jeff Bezos no cree en las reuniones con PowerPoint, basa las reuniones en algo muy original, en un memorándum de 6 páginas. ¿Cómo lo hace? Bueno, pues lo vas a ver en esta entrevista.
Well, when we get when new people come in, like a new executive joins, they're a little taken aback sometimes because the typical meeting will start with a 6-page narratively structured memo, and we do study hall. For 30 minutes, we sit there silently together in the meeting and read. Take notes in the margins, and then we discuss. And
no solo se trata de que se estudie un memorándum de 6 páginas, sino que se hace en la propia reunión. ¿Y por qué no se hace antes? Bueno, pues Jeff Bezos tiene una explicación muy buena para esto.
The reason, by the way, we do study, you could say, I would like everybody to read these memos in advance, but the problem is people don't have time to do that. And they end up coming to the meeting having only skimmed the memo, or maybe not read it at all, and they're trying to catch up. And they're also bluffing like they were in college, having pretended to do the reading.
Yeah, exactly.
It's better just to carve out the time for people.
And do it
So now
together.
we're all on the same page. We've all read the memo. And now we can have a really elevated discussion.
Vemos que el sistema de Bezos es totalmente contrario al sistema del PowerPoint, la presentación de diapositivas del PowerPoint. Pero ¿por qué no cree Jeff Bezos en las diapositivas de PowerPoint? ¿Cuál es el motivo? Pues lo explica muy bien también en la entrevista.
And this is so much better from having a slideshow presentation, a PowerPoint presentation of some kind, where that has so many difficulties. But one of the problems is PowerPoint is really designed to persuade. It's kind of a sales tool. And internally, the last thing you want to do is sell. You're truth seeking. You're trying to find truth. And the other problem with PowerPoint is it's easy for the author and hard for the audience. And a memo is the opposite. It's hard to write a 6-page memo. A good 6-page memo might take 2 weeks to write. You have to write it, you have to rewrite it, you have to edit it, you have to talk to people about it, they have to poke holes in it for you. You write it again. It might take 2 weeks. So the author, it's really a very difficult job. But for the audience, it's much better. So you can read a half hour and, there are little problems with PowerPoint presentations too. Senior executives interrupt with questions halfway through the presentation. That question's going to be answered on the next slide, but you never got there. Whereas if you read the whole memo in advance, I often write lots of questions that I have in the margins of these memos. And then I go cross them all out because by the time I get to the end of the memo, they've been answered. That's why I save all that time. You also get, if the person who's preparing the memo, we talked earlier about, groupthink and, the fact that I go last in meetings and that you don't want, your ideas to kind of pollute the meeting prematurely. The author of the memo has kind of got to be very vulnerable. They got to put all their thoughts out there.
Bueno, pues vamos a recapitular las ventajas que considera Jeff Bezos que tiene su sistema del memorándum de 6 páginas sobre el sistema del PowerPoint. Primero, el memorándum es una herramienta para encontrar la verdad y no una herramienta para vender como ocurre con el PowerPoint. Segundo, es fácil para la persona que lo lee y es más difícil para la persona que lo produce, al contrario del PowerPoint, que es fácil para la persona que lo hace y difícil para el que lo recibe. Tercero, evita que se produzcan preguntas que paralizan la exposición y que podrían tener respuestas si se hubiera leído el memorándum entero. Y cuarto, evita el pensamiento de grupo, pues el PowerPoint condiciona a las personas que lo van viendo a tener un determinado pensamiento a diferencia del memorándum. Pongamos que Bezos te ha convencido y que quieres hacer una reunión con el sistema del memorándum. La cuestión es cómo se hace ese memorándum. ¿Tiene alguna manera específica de hacerse? Y veremos que Bezos lo tiene también muy claro.
Is there art, science to the writing of the 6-page memo? Or just writing in general to you?
It's really got to be a real memo. So it means, paragraphs have topic sentences, it's verbs and nouns. That's the other problem with PowerPoint presentations. They're often just bullet points. And you can hide a lot of sloppy thinking behind bullet points. When you have to write in complete sentences with narrative structure, it's really hard to hide sloppy thinking. So it forces the author to be at their best.
Si el contenido te ha parecido interesante, por favor dale a me gusta y suscríbete para poder estar al tanto de más vídeos como este. Un saludo y hasta pronto.